everybody. So just to get started here with this little shoulder and chest opening class, I hope that this finds you well and that you're feeling really good today. And if not, that's okay too. Just get yourself to your mat, get yourself to connect with the breath. So we'll just go ahead and get started. So if you haven't already, go ahead and roll your mat out. Just come and get yourself nice and comfortable, sitting back onto the sit bones, onto the glutes, coming into your easy pose or Sukhasana in Sanskrit. And if this is too tender for the hips, maybe sitting with crossed legs doesn't work for you, so you can take the legs out instead and extend into Dandasana. I'm sorry if my feet are like kind of dirty. So coming to that easy pose, whichever works best for your hips, your knees. Find a nice tall seat here wherever you are. Feel the spine extending all the way up from the mat, the navel gently falling inward as you release breath out. Drop the shoulders back. Notice if you're holding tension all the way up, bring the shoulders to the ears. Just actively roll them and drop them back down. Notice if you're clenching your jaw, you're holding tension between the eyebrows. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, let it go. Release all the tension here that you're holding in your limbs. Any tension that you arrived on the mat with today, let that all go. Begin to allow your thoughts and expectations of the days ahead of you to disperse. There is nothing else that needs your attention other than being here right now in the moment. And if you haven't already, close the eyes, come to the inner space. Begin to deepen the breath and tune into that pace, following every increment in which breath enters and exits the body. And find the peace and joy with being here in the present moment, sinking into the breath, allowing the breath to possess the body instead of the mind. Our thoughts and chatter are strong, especially right now. But you are stronger. Your breath is stronger. It is life. It's everything that gives you life. So just find a few more rounds of breath, continuing to clear the inner landscape. Maybe just 3 more rounds, focusing solely on the intake and then the exit of breath leaving. Allow the belly to soften on your next inhale. Gently pressing outward, and then let it soften in as the breath falls out of the body. Go ahead and draw the hands together at heart center. Bow the head and form an intention for this little practice that we have together, just this short 20 minutes or so. Whatever is coming to mind emotionally, physically, if there is anything that you want to leave off the mat for your practice but want to draw in as an intention, bring it in now. Whatever is coming to mind. And try to keep the intention positive. Instead of maybe something falling away, what are you drawing in right now? We are in a moon phase of leaving that full moon, so leaving the rest and surrender that comes with that heightened energy and moving towards a new moon, which allows us to bring in new ideas, feel into the newness and richness of every single moment, something unique that we've never seen before. You can go ahead and release the hands away from the heart. Find a deep breath in, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky, and then as you exhale, go ahead and release your right hand down to the mat beside you. Fingertips can be tented off the mat if this is really difficult here for you. Maybe then you begin to walk the fingertips out to your right side and then gently lower on down to that right forearm and right elbow. If that works, trying to keep that right arm shooting straight out from the left glute, or right glute, wow, sorry. Inhale, gently rotate the chest up towards the ceiling, and then as you exhale, play around with maybe bending this elbow, this left elbow here, or maybe if it works for you, maybe you even extend a bit more towards the right fingertips, dropping the head down, gently pressing into that right elbow so that the left sit bone presses back down into the mat. Now tap into the breath. Inhale, notice the stretch alongside the left lower back, the left lower side of the back, and opening through the left rib cage. One more breath in, gently rotate to the sky. And then as you exhale, walk the fingertips out in front of you, gently roll over to the midline of the body. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold gently just for a moment. Then as you find your next inhalation, begin to walk your fingertips over to the left side. Maybe fingertips are tented up off the mat and you walk back just a bit. Inhale to stretch the right arm up overhead. And as you exhale, maybe you come into that deeper variation where the left elbow comes down to the earth. Maybe right elbow bends. Maybe you gently press into the left elbow to get that right sit bone to ground back down on the earth, creating opposing force between you and the mat. 2 rounds of breath. Dig deep. Feel it expand. We're not looking for a specific look of anything here, just playing around, finding the stretch. As you find your next inhalation, come back through to center. Hands come to the heart. Exhale, let go of the breath. And as you're ready, bring your palms around the knees and just gently holding the knees. We're not creating a lot of tension here, but just pressing in, dropping the shoulders back, first finding our tall seat. And then once you find your next inhalation, gently draw the chest forward, swimming through the shoulders. Find an arch in the back, squeeze the shoulder blades, tailbone peels behind you. Gaze goes up last. As you exhale and find the next round of breath, cave the shoulders around the chest, find space between shoulder blades. Maybe you even hug around opposite hands, reaching for the shoulders. Tucking chin in. Inhale, opening back up, drawing the chest through, finding this fluidity in the spine, gazing up, shoulders drop back. Exhale, rounding, coming into these seated cat-cows. Maybe you take that little hug at the end of the last breath. Inhale. Exhale, find the rounding. And just beginning to create this undulation with the spine. Inhaling to pull the heart through and then exhaling to find the round. And noticing the navel tucking to the spine as you move here. Finding the breath. If you've lost connection, that's okay. Just come back. Inhale, find the breath. Connect one breath to one motion. And then last round of breath. As you're ready, arrive back at center. Open the palms up on top of the knees and just notice how you feel for a minute. Deep breath in. Notice if the breath travels through the body with a bit more ease. And let it out, let it go. Imagine all stale energy, all toxic things leaving you as you let the breath go. And then as you find your next breath, we're going to go ahead and bring ourselves on over to our knees. And then you're going to just take your torso over top of the hips. We're standing up here on our knees. And we're not really doing too much yet. Just bring the backs of your hands first to the low back. And just notice how it feels to drop the shoulders down and to gently press the backs of the hands into the low back. Notice how this feels in the base of the neck. Just as the shoulders and that sensation runs into the arm, the top of the arm, the delts, the tricep. as you're just actively pressing in. Maybe you tuck the chin into the chest to gain a little bit of traction in the spine. Deep breath in and breath out. Find the opposing force. Navel tucks the spine, core tucks in while backs of the hands still pressing. Then as you find your next exhalation, release the tension, interlace the fingers, and inhale, squeeze through the shoulder blades, press through the chest. But keep that nice connection to your core. Navel still tucking into spine. We're not like opening up like this and losing our connection to our core, because that can harm the low back. So just still keeping that nice strong core, navel tucking in. And then maybe you continue to draw the hands gently away from the glutes and just play around with drawing them back and then away. Finding the edge of sensation and meeting that place. Maybe inhaling, gently draw them away from the glutes, squeeze between the upper back. Exhale, draw them back down, maybe slightly release the stretch. Inhale, open back up through the chest, shoulders drop back. Exhale, let them come around the chest. Inhale, shoulders come behind. And then this time as you exhale, go ahead and release your hands down to the mat. And just begin to walk the knees back a bit, bringing them directly below the hips. Shoulders over elbows over wrists, finding our table pose. And just beginning to find some pelvic tilts only here. We're not moving through cat-cow and taking the shoulders into it, but we're rather going to neutralize the spine from that brief back bending that we were just in. So inhale, tilt the pelvis slightly forward, navel tucks to spine without moving the upper body. As you exhale, gently feel the tailbone tug back and come back to a neutral pelvis. Inhale, gently bring the pelvis forward, tucking it in. And then as you exhale, tail presses back, find the neutral spine once more. And then you'll get more comfortable with noticing the neutral spine. Find just 3 more rounds of breath here on your own, at your own pace. Connect the breath with motion. The motion itself is less important than aligning the breath with it. And as you're ready, go ahead and come back through to center, finding that neutral spine. Extend both hands out to the front of the mat. And this might really be as far as you go. You might maybe drop on down to the elbows. The goal here is to keep the hips over the knees, peel the tailbone up to the sky. And maybe you eventually walk the fingertips out even a little bit more than that, so you can come off the elbows and lower the heart towards the earth, bringing the belly back towards the upper thighs, coming into puppy dog pose. Then once you find the pose, make sure that you are comfortable. Then align yourself with the breath and find 3 deepening breaths here. Allow the belly to soften. Release any tension away from any other parts of the body. Maybe if you've reached a point where this is a really comfortable pose for you, you can bend the elbows, bring the palms together, and then allow the hands to come behind the head for our praying variation here. And as you're ready, slowly begin to press yourself up and out of the pose, walking the hands back, arriving back at table. And as you're ready, walk the hands out slowly and come all the way down to the belly. If you want to do a little chaturanga, push-up, or whatever, go on ahead for it. That's just a little high plank to low plank. But whatever you want. If you're trying to ramp it up, by all means, get some push-ups in there. But if you're looking for the relaxation today, just get yourself to the belly, bring the elbows below the shoulders, and find Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose here, we want to find extension through the spine, even though we're in this slight back bend, where our lumbar spine, our low back, is just gently being compressed here. So we want to find extension in that place by gently pressing elbows into the mat and pulling back the mat as if we're tugging something. So pulling back the mat with our elbows, drawing the heart through the shoulders, dropping the shoulders back, maybe gently taking the gaze up if it's okay. And if you're feeling any twinging in the low back, maybe try just taking the feet a little bit further apart from one another. And of course, if you ever feel any pain, take it a step back. There is no need to force yourself to do a pose that just isn't working for you. Some people's bodies are different, and some things that work for others will not work the same way for another person. And just by sitting here and breathing for about 3 or so more rounds, we are finding opening in the chest, in the back body. Really tap into that opening, keeping this either an active pose by pressing down or just hanging out. Maybe you're feeling a little bit of sensation coming on into the shoulders. That's all right. And as you're ready, on your next breath out, you can slowly begin to unwind, bringing the forearms out in front of you and taking the forehead, resting it on top of the hands. And just find 3 rounds of breath here. We're just neutralizing for a moment before we do the final pose. Or actually, there are 2 more for this little series. Find the juiciness of being here with the breath. Just being in the present moment, knowing that there is nothing else that you need to pay attention to right now other than yourself. Giving yourself that care, that compassion that you would give any other person. And then as you become ready, you can go ahead and extend your right arm out to the right side of the mat as if it's shooting straight out from the shoulder blade. We want to make sure we get that perfect alignment here. Then, this is a little confusing, so maybe look up for a moment and then enter into it. Look up at the video. Then you're going to go ahead and take your left hand, take it below left shoulder. Walk the right fingertips out just a bit. Press into the left hand, curl the left big toe under, and use it to help push yourself gently over onto your right hip. So then from here, your left knee may be bent and left sole of the foot is pressing into the mat as well as the left hand. You might stay here. This might already be so much sensation for the right shoulder, the right chest area, pectorals. But if you'd like more sensation still, you can bring this left leg behind the right knee and just allow the left knee to gently fold open here. Of course, like I said, never do anything that gives you pain. Always take it a step back. You might need to bring both knees together here for this to be comfortable for you and just have both legs resting on the earth. So go ahead and come into it if you were watching and just find 5 or so deep, long, slow rounds of breath. If you're feeling a lot of sensation in the right arm, that's okay, just as long as you're not feeling any burning sensations or if it's not too much. You know your body. Deepen the breath, soften the belly. Soften the exhalation as it leaves the body. And then as you're ready, slowly begin to come back. First, just rolling on back over to the belly, using that left hand to help you, and then taking the right arm back in, coming back to that neutral positioning of forehead to backs of the hands. And just take a couple rounds of breath here, feeling the belly press into the floor, pressing you away from the mat and the earth. Then as you find your next exhalation, you can go ahead and take your left arm out beside you to the left side of the mat. And we're taking that pose on the other side. So make sure that left arm's shooting straight out from the left shoulder blade. Use your right hand gently to press in underneath the right shoulder to roll yourself slowly over to the left hip. You might stay here with just the legs tucked in gently towards the belly, knees bent. Maybe right foot comes to support and help stabilize. We're not forcing anything with this right foot, but rather using it to help us. Or maybe it comes behind left leg. So find your breath here. Maybe you want to relax the right arm if you're in a comfortable place. Soften the belly, soften the inhalation. Feel into the heart space. Feel it slowly uncracking, slowly unwinding, beginning to invite more love for yourself. Inviting that energy throughout your practice, consistently offering gratitude for the body and it bringing you to this place. And then as you become ready, you can slowly begin to come out of it. Bring the knees back to be parallel with one another. Slowly scoot yourself onto the belly. And then come into that neutralizing position of arms in front of you, forehead resting down. Find 3 rounds of silent breath here. Really feeling into the blank slate ahead of you. Nothing coming into the mind, nothing going out. And as you're ready, slowly begin to bring the palms below the shoulders, pressing yourself all the way up, bringing the knees just below the hips. And then you're going to sink the hips onto the heels here. And then take the backs of the hands, slide them behind you, lay the forehead down on the mat. And we'll be there for about 7 rounds of breath. That is the neutralizing pose just for everything that we had just been doing, allowing the shoulders to, instead of come away from the chest, now we're bringing them around. We're neutralizing all the things that we have released. And so staying there for a few more rounds of breath, allowing yourself to come into that meditative space, to remind yourself to stay connected to the breath, stay connected to the core of your being. And as you become ready, go ahead and slowly press yourself all the way up. And go ahead and come to that reclined position once more. You're just going to bring the knees into the chest this time, hugging them in, maybe bringing arms behind the knee creases and hugging the legs in, maybe wrapping them all the way around the shins. And then just go ahead and rock yourself from side to side, noticing the parts of the body that this feels good for, that the floor provides a gentle massage. Maybe you even circle the knees, feeling the hip creases folding in. Finding the breath. And as you find your next breath out, go ahead and extend the feet all the way out to the bottom of the mat. Finding Shavasana, our final rest. I'm going to sit up just to make sure that you can hear me, but you stay down there, stay nice and relaxed. Get yourself into a comfy position. Maybe you gently tuck the shoulder blades underneath the upper back to find a little rise in the chest. And the arms come out along the side body with the palms facing up to the sky. The feet just gently flop open to outer edges of the mat. Find your first breath in. Deepen it. Feel the belly press up. And as you exhale, the belly press down, the low back fall into the mat. Find another breath in through the nose. And this time, exhale through the mouth, an audible sigh. Let it go. Another breath just like that. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, press the breath out. Last one. Inhale. Exhale, let it all go. Deepen the connection to nothingness. If thoughts start to come into the mind, embrace them with love, acknowledge them, say, hey, what's up? And then say, I don't have time for this right now. I'm giving myself some compassion in yoga. And just press them away. View your thoughts like clouds floating by through the sky. We don't delve into the content of them, but rather just watching them float through the mind. We don't acknowledge what emotions that they are bringing in or sensations. We acknowledge their presence, but we don't delve into the emotions that they bring. We are able to view them as a third-party observer, as if we are disconnected from them, from the ego. And just a little touch on balancing that place where we have the ego begging us to consider thoughts and stories and projections. And then the other side, where there really is no ego, there is only conscious existence and expression of unique parts of self and parts of the source, of divine source. We want to find the gentle balance in softening the ego's emotional approach in our lives, but also keeping that connection to divine source, allowing our humanness to fall away. So find a big breath in through the nose. And exhale, let it go. Imagine the humanness of yourself falling away. The ego letting go of the things that it needs to feed off of. And instead being a friendly voice that guides you through this physical existence. And you can continue to stay there in Shavasana for however long you would like. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me, and I thank you for following the yoga content. I hope that you received something from this video. And please let me know if there's anything that anybody really wants or really needs, if we need any parts of the body specifically. Just shoot me a message. I'm open to anything. Whoops, I made this a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but I don't think anybody will mind. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. Have the best day.